Hi everyone, Dave here, Fit and Healthy Forever. I just wanted to do a short video today. This is an update on intermittent fasting. Now, I put a video out some time ago on intermittent fasting. I think it's one of the best patterns of eating that I've ever come across. Now, I know a few people out there have tried it. There's 7 or 8 people I've had feedback from who are very, very impressed. Not only do they lose body fat, but they also feel better, look healthier, and just all round general well-being. So I just wanted to do an update. It's called the power of intermittent fasting. Now, why would you want to do this? First of all, it's not a diet. It doesn't tell you what to eat or what not to eat. It's a pattern of eating. So basically, as I said in the previous video, you could virtually eat what you want within the window, but it would help if you eat healthily. That would help a lot. But you can get results if you carried on eating the way you are now, but implemented what I call the 16-8, which I'll briefly touch on again in a minute. So firstly, it's one of the most important factors in fat loss. Now, people get mixed up with weight loss and fat loss. Weight loss you can be losing on your traditional Weight Watchers, Slimming World, crash diets. You can be losing muscle tissue and fluid. This is focused on fat loss. The majority of your weight would be fat loss. Now, it triggers the 2 most powerful hormones in the body, growth hormone and insulin. Now, growth hormone is your anti-aging hormone and also the most powerful fat-burning hormone in your body. There's 6 fat-burning hormones, of which growth hormone is the most powerful, and it protects muscle tissue. So it spares muscle tissue. It doesn't easily let it go, shall we say. So you're not losing muscle tissue. Then you have insulin, which can be a fat-storing hormone, but it does help, if you use it at the right times, it does help to shuttle nutrients into the cells, the muscles, the liver, to be used later on for energy or for whatever the body needs it to be used for. In the presence of insulin, you cannot burn body fat. That's a fact. If you've got insulin tearing around your body, you cannot burn body fat. End of. So this is again where things like Weight Watchers and Slimming World fall down. They don't teach you about insulin, how it reacts in the body. So it's such a powerful hormone, it will block growth hormone. So you use it strategically, like if you train, the best times to eat heavy carb meals would be after training, possibly a lightish meal before. That would shuttle the nutrients where they needed, and it would store very little of them as fat. Now, intermittent fasting cures insulin resistance, which is where the pancreas, I've touched on this before, where the pancreas is pumping out way too much insulin, and if it's not getting feedback to say that insulin is doing its job in the cells, it just keeps sending more and more out. You become insulin resistant, so it's not efficient, and that leads to pre-diabetes and diabetes itself. So depending on how you use insulin, if you, as I say, if you train hard, whether it be cardio or whether it be weight training or both, after your training you could eat a fairly large carbohydrate meal and insulin will shoot up and it will shuttle it where it's needed. Just bear in mind, depending on how many carbs you do eat, once your insulin has stored it in the liver, the cells, the muscles, whatever's left will be stored as fat. So you don't need massive amounts of carbohydrates. I would suggest something around 30, 40, maximum 50 grams of carbs, unless you're someone who takes performance enhancing drugs, or you're a genetic freak, or you're huge, you would need a lot more. But for the general average person, I would say between 30 and 50 grams is plenty. So back to intermittent fasting. Depending on where you are now, I would transition to 2 or 3 meals a day with no snacks in between. Now, I've found, since I've been doing intermittent fasting, I've experimented a little bit with not snacking in between. So I have 3 meals and I used to have little snacks in between. I've stopped the snacking, and I think it makes a hell of a difference, because no matter what you eat, you will always spike insulin. Now, carbohydrates predominantly spike insulin, but so will protein, so will fats to a certain extent. So if you're eating nothing in between, you're allowing some sort of fat burning because you're not spiking insulin. So, as I say, depending on where you are now, transition to 2 or 3 meals a day. The principle of intermittent fasting hormonally is that every time you eat, insulin is spiked to some degree, as I've just said. So I always thought, and I think a lot of people always thought, that only carbohydrates spike insulin. Predominantly that's true, but also so does protein and fats to a lesser degree. So if you've transitioned to 3 small meals and no snacks, the key to doing this and not getting hungry is to add in healthy fats into your meals. For instance, coconut oil, olive oil, healthy nuts, eggs. I touched on fats on a previous video. If you go back to that, that will give you a list of healthy fats. Fats satiate you more than carbs do. Carbs give you a quick high, then you crash, then you eat more carbs, then you get a high, and then you crash. And that's how your insulin is all day long, up, down with carbs. When you severely restrict carbohydrates and add in more healthy fats and moderate your protein, you don't get that. You get a steady supply of energy all the way through. You don't get lightheaded when you crash, or you just don't get the crashes. So that's worth noting. If you want to take it to the next level, I would strongly suggest that you go to the 16-8 that I call, which I touched on in the intermittent fasting video, where you're fasting for 16 hours and eating for 8. As I say, try and eat as healthy as you can, but in those 8 hours you can eat pretty much what you want within reason, and you would still get results. The power is in the 16-hour fast. If you time this right, you'll be sleeping for at least 8 hours of that. So it's not difficult. I finish eating my last meals before 6 o'clock at night, and I don't eat till 10 the next morning. So by the time supper comes round, you're ready to go to bed. So if you're someone who ate supper, you're skipping it, and then you just skip breakfast the next morning. You can do it that way. I know someone who's on this who does 1 till 9 because they train in the evening. So they have to have their last meal sort of 8, half 8. So they'll go from 9 till 1 the next day. So as long as you don't go below 14 hours, you'll be okay. I wouldn't go below 14 if you're going to do it. Try and get the 16-8. 14-10 or 15-9 would work. Now, as I say, the key to burning fat is the 16-hour fast. Your body is not sending blood and energy to digest food, because within 8 or 9 hours max, you've digested all the food in your body. So the other 6, 7, 8 hours, whatever it may be, your body's tapping into fat stores and it's using them as an energy source. So you as I say, your body's got a constant supply, because we all carry a certain amount of body fat. So you're going to have an endless supply. You add exercise into that, especially on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. I wouldn't suggest you did that with weight training, but with cardio, do that before your first meal. You'll get fantastic results. I'll guarantee you will get fantastic results. If you have the mindset to take it to the next level, or you want to transition later on to the next level, you can transition to 2 meals a day with no snacks. But I wouldn't recommend that if you're doing a serious weight training, or you're not. If you're just doing cardio and not serious weight training, just for general health, you would get away with that. You couldn't build muscle on 2 meals a day, I don't think. I wouldn't try it anyway. The transition time I found was about 2 weeks. Now, just to let you know again, insulin uses, your body turns blood sugar or glucose into energy that helps, and it's helped by insulin to be stored in the muscles, fat cells, liver, to be used later. That's the predominant role of insulin. If you're not spiking insulin high and you're keeping it constantly low and level all the time, then you can fat burn more so than you would if it's up, down, because that's going to block growth hormone, so it's not going to allow you to burn fat at a good rate. Fat storing, when you eat too many calories and your body needs somewhere to store, will be stored as fat. So excess calories, no matter where they come from, will be stored as fat if you eat too many and you're not on intermittent fasting. If you're on intermittent fasting, you'll get away with it. I'll guarantee there's 7 or 8 people who give me feedback to say they're getting excellent results. They're feeling better, they're looking better, they've got more energy, they're losing body fat, not weight, body fat. There's a difference. Get that into your head. There's a difference. There's a reason that people like Weight Watchers and Slimming World don't have 12-month or 2-year reunions. It's because within 12 months, it's a known fact the majority of people put the weight back on. Anytime you go on a severely restricted diet, you have to come off it one day, because you can't sustain that forevermore. When you come off it and you start to go back to normal ways of eating, you will pile the weight on. Science has proved you not only put the weight back on, you put more on. So if you go on intermittent fasting, it's not telling you what to eat or what not to eat. It's a pattern of eating that you can eat predominantly what you want within that 8-hour window and then fast for 16. Believe me, it's very, very easy. You might take the first week or possibly 2 weeks where you find it difficult. Once you get into it, I've been doing it probably 2 years now, around, and it is so easy, so easy. You won't regret it, I promise you. So I just wanted to update you on that, because I've had a lot of feedback, and I know it's all good feedback. I've had no negative feedback whatsoever on this. And I don't know why I keep seeing on Facebook people going back to Slimming World or Weight Watchers. Look, another pointer here, if you have to go back to something, it didn't work. People are saying, oh, I'll go back to Slimming World or Weight Watchers because it worked last time. No, if it worked, you wouldn't be going back to it. So, logic, just think about it. You don't have to go back to this, you can stay on this indefinitely, because it's not restricting your calories, it's restricting the window that you eat in. So just think about it, give it a try. As I've said before, I want people to live full, healthy lives. This crash dieting, on and off, it's not good for you. It's called yo-yo dieting, and it's ridiculous. It causes you more problems than you can imagine. So please, just bear this in mind. Give it a go. Give me some feedback. If you're not happy with it, give me the feedback and tell me why, and I'll see if I can answer your questions. But until the next video, thanks for taking the time to listen again. Stay fit and healthy forever. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and I'll see you in the next video.